So we said we have Nintendo news, right? Because we do. So next week on Thursday, June 5th, the Nintendo Switch 2 officially launches for purchase. So the Switch 2 brings a new form of game communication for the handheld console, powerful new hardware, reimagined online capabilities, and a broad range of games, old and new. With that being said, it will be available for the large price tag of $449.99. However, many are maybe rethinking their purchase plans due to Nintendo's revised user agreement. It has been a hot topic lately. But Nintendo has actually tightened its user agreement, revising terms and conditions with a tougher stance aimed at players who hack their Switch console, run emulators, or any other unauthorized use. So emails have officially gone out to players confirming the company has updated the Nintendo policy agreement and the Nintendo account privacy policy. So the new rules now supersedes all previous versions and apply to all existing and new Nintendo account users on May 7th. So this already started. So in this agreement, players are agreeing that they are not allowed to lease, rent, sub-license, publish, copy, modify, adapt, translate, reverse engineer, decompile, or disassemble all of any portion of Nintendo account services without Nintendo's written consent, or unless otherwise expressly permitted by applicable law. This agreement section actually wraps with the following. You acknowledge that if you fail to comply with the foregoing restrictions, Nintendo may render the Nintendo account services and of the applicable Nintendo device permanently unusable in whole or in part. So now, I'll be honest, Nintendo hasn't been clear and hasn't clarified what unusable means exactly, but the wording does seem to suggest that Nintendo now reserves the right to potentially brick your console if it thinks you've broken its rules. However, that's also not all. So much Nintendo news for you guys. So changes to the privacy policy now also stress that Nintendo may listen to Switch users' online chats in order to support a safe and family-friendly online environment and to detect violations of the Nintendo account agreement and other harmful or illegal interactions. Now, as the launch looms ever nearer, literally later next week, Nintendo has been updating its backwards compatibility for the Switch 2. So far, almost all of the original library of the Switch 1 games will function as normal, though around 5% of games will have issues. This could be due to compatibility issues with the Joy-Con 2, the VR headset, just games that weren't built and made to be able to work on the format that the Switch 2 is. However, while I find that easy to understand, it is surprising to learn that apps such as Hulu and Crunchyroll actually won't function on the Switch 2, along with other video apps as well. So there is a list on their website to help keep buyers informed about what pieces of software will function on the new console. Now, the question is, guys, will you be getting yourself a Switch 2, or are you changing your mind? How are you feeling even about the current Switch that you might already own? Please let us know your thoughts in the comments.
I feel like for me, especially with the fact that I have a large Steam library, I feel like the Steam Deck would make the most sense for me.
Yeah, the Steam Deck is the one I really want. And I agree with you. Definitely makes the most sense for me in the games that I play and own.
So I feel like, yay, good job, Switch 2. But also looking at the specs compared to the specs of other handheld consoles, and also the fact that there are rumors surrounding Xbox and PlayStation and how they want to get into the handheld again. I think PlayStation had a handheld with the Vita. I believe that was what it was, right? Wasn't that handheld?
Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah.
That
was theirs.
That sounds right.
But yeah, but they want to come back into it, but they've been in it before. Mm-hmm. And then Xbox never had one, so they would have to start from scratch. So yeah, look at me and my brain, guys. But yeah, so I feel like other consoles are probably gonna outperform the Switch 2 in a way. So as much as I'm like, okay, great, good job, you guys gave us another Switch, there are just some aspects to it that I'm like, I don't really care. I don't care for the chat thing. I don't care to have people like watch me play like with my friend, like as we're sitting there and like we're playing Mario Kart and I can see you and you can see me. Like, I don't really care. You know what I mean?
Totally fair.
There are just aspects that I just don't think matter, and I think they are trying so hard. It's like, just give us better games. Maybe that would help.
Yeah. I mean,
some of the games are bad, but I feel like maybe improve the games more.
Yeah, out of like the current games that are coming out for the Switch, the only one I'm really interested in is Mario Kart World, because it is like kind of expanding upon finally, I think, a much needed different take on Mario Kart after all of these how many goddamn years of my life that it's been the same thing, just with new maps.
Well, but it's gonna be beyond that. Like, everything's gonna be more seamless because it's open world from how they made it, which is gonna be different. Which, that's great. Like, give us more of that. Like, don't give us, hey, you can set up this camera and then cool, you can chat with us. I don't care.
I don't care. Yeah. Now this does also.
That's how I play. That's not why I play Nintendo.
Like, I am not licensing a Nintendo product when I'm buying it. I am purchasing this device. Like, that is I don't even know what to label that as. I want to say corporate greed, but at the same time, I can't really say it's that, because it's worse than that, in my opinion. The fact that the company is now withholding the right to be able to just brick and make our devices and our account completely unusable, I think is completely unfair to the consumer that is paying the money, let alone this amount of money, to get the device. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. It's really easy to actually emulate Switch games on a really good PC. People have been emulating also like old Pokemon games on cell phones for ages. Like, it's just crazy that Nintendo itself is able to just now kill your console whenever you want, for whatever reason they decide is against their rules. I think this is absolutely demonstrative of the Nintendo company.
Well, I mean, there is also another factor that we need to look at too, in the sense of, I understand we buy these things, like, okay, we bought our phones, we bought our, our computers and everything else. But at the same time, like even games, right? We technically don't own the games. We own a license to the game. We technically own a license to the phone. We own licenses. Like, it's weird when you don't really own things. Like, you can own your car because you can get your title and it's your car, right? But as far as other things go, unfortunately, they're licensed items that we're buying. So, it's kind of like in their court a little bit too. So I understand why they're like, oh my God, don't mess with our product. But at the same time, like, anybody can go and grab like a Raspberry, and then create something from that, and maybe even create their own Switch product from using a Raspberry Pi. Like, there's so much you can do. Honestly, debating on just playing with older Nintendo products versus getting anything new from them again. And that's fair. I think the old Nintendo products are probably the better ones that we've seen. I think they have a lot of thinking to do about this, especially with the fact, like I said, they're so hung up on, remember where they were like, there's a little C button. They're so hung up on the stupid stuff. And it's like, I don't care. Like, nobody cares. So I think
it's also going back to the same thing of like these upgrades and these updates that they're doing to this Nintendo Switch 2 is like, great. I've been able to do that forever on all of my other devices. Like, thanks for not getting up with the time still. Like,
Well, I will say this though. There is going to be another Nintendo Direct coming out soon. So they will have more information on other things. I don't know what it's going to be about, but they did say that they were going to have one. They kind of hinted to it. It's probably going to happen after the launch date or right before launch. So it'll either be Wednesday or maybe like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or somewhere around there.
If it's before launch, I could almost see it being like day of launch. But we'll
Right.
see. Maybe they'll go into further detail about their crazy terms of services now, like, and
Yeah.
give further look into like what all of this means, because this is definitely hurting. Like, sadly, there are people out there, and there are people who are just agreeing to this term of service because people don't read all of their terms of services. It's really common that people don't. So people are just agreeing without knowing what they're agreeing to. So
But then again, I mean, like, how many of the terms and services have we read regarding our video games? It's like, okay, great. And it'll be like things like, we're going to use your data to do this, that, this and that with the game. Like, I don't care. Like, fine, because that's the majority of the time. They use data to figure out performance base, and they figure out how can they do improvements and all this other stuff. But we're really not reading anything. Or even like, let's just say in general, like you go and services and agreements to your phone. Do you read it? Probably not. You're like, it's a phone. I just want it. Just give me my phone, So
mhm.
I think there's things that they need to think about so that we have a better understanding. We will keep that we will keep bringing you guys more information on the Nintendo stuff as we keep getting it and finding out
Absolutely.
more information. Like I said, there is a direct happening at some point next week. So we'll see what they're gonna talk about.